everybody, this is Chess with OG Luqqy, episode 3. I don't have a name for it yet, but it is episode 3. And you will see the title of the video when it is posted. So, with that being said, this is the Queen's Gambit denied variation. And it is denied because he played d4, d5, c4. That means that white is initiating the Queen's Gambit. Black can either take the pawn and capture it, or he cannot. Now, in this variation, it's denied. So bishop to f4, pawn captures on c4, e4, knight to c6, d5, knight to a5. Now, the thing about this, as soon as I played the pawn forward, this pawn forward, I'm opening up my bishop to take that pawn back on c4 and taking direct control of the center. So, what he does is he plays knight to c6, attacking this pawn, because if he attacks with the knight and my queen captures it, then his queen gets mine. If he captures with the queen, then I capture with the queen and he takes the queen. I lose a pawn. He's up a pawn. Well, he'd be up 2 pawns actually. So, I attack, I move it forward. First of all, I'm attacking the knight. Second of all, the pawn now has an extra protector. Knight to a5, he backs up because he's a pussy. He's also protecting this pawn right here. a4, now this move, it was intended to make him move his bishop out so that I could grab the knight, but he played the smart move right here, which is to move the pawn up, because now the queen is protecting the knight too. It's a very positional game. So I capture on c6, he captures back on c6, I play f3, protecting that, and he plays bishop to d7. Now, I knew exactly what he was going to do here. He's going to push that pawn on c6. He's going to push it to c7 and get a discovered attack on my queen. So, I stopped this pawn from moving. He plays pawn to c5, so I move back. e6, castles. Now his bishop is pinned to his queen. h4, h5, e5, f6, h2. Now, I should have just moved this back automatically. I should have just, as soon as he moved his knight here, I should have just moved back. Like, okay, so he moves his knight. I should have just moved right here immediately. But I wasted a move because I didn't do that. Now, I moved up. And now his pawn is 1 square more forward, but his queen's pathing is blocked, so at least I'm grateful for that. So I move back, and he takes control of the center. So I attack the knight, and he moves, trying to get a peace trade going, but I said, nope, I'm just going to solidify my position. And he brings his queen out, because he knows that what I was trying to do was, you know, use this knight to take control of this area over here, but he didn't do that. So I just moved my knight to attack the queen. He captures, I capture. Oh, by the way, I captured with the rook and not the pawn because I did not want an isolated pawn, because if I capture with the pawn, well, now there's no other pawns next to this pawn. He's all alone, and then if this rook were to ever move away, he would just grab it. So, I captured with the rook to maintain the pressure on the bishop, and also to fix my, so that my structure wouldn't get messed up. So he moves, I move my knight, and he moves his bishop, thinking that for whatever reason, in this position, I mean, what would you do? They unblock their rook, plus they move their bishop, now it has a double attack on the rook. The obvious move, just trade the fucking rooks. He moves his queen back. By the way, his queen has been on this diagonal his queen has been on this diagonal the whole time. Because the moment his queen moves off of this diagonal, let's see, you have a5, b6, c7, and d8. That's the diagonal that the rook and the queen are on. He's been on that. His queen had to stay on that diagonal the whole game, because let's say he did something like that. Then I would grab this, and then the next move he did, you know, maybe he'd do some, I'm just moving right there. The moment he moved off, I'd grab the knight, and then I'd grab that. And that was putting pressure on him the whole game. That made him not want to use his queen at all. So I moved my bishop up. I left my bishop there too, because I was going to activate it with the capture, which is the most efficient way to activate a piece. So he moves his bishop, starts developing it. I'm thinking he's going to castle. So I move to attack the queen. This is called danger levels, right? If he castles right now, sure, his king is safe, but I get his queen. So he moves his queen, still not leaving that diagonal. I push the pawn up, because if he captures, then I capture with the bishop, getting a nice diagonal on the queen. Just make that whole diagonal unsafe for her. He castles, I capture, he moves back, I capture again. Still, if he captures the bishop with the queen, I capture the knight with my queen. And then I get the pawn too. So, he's actually running away. Imagine a free piece making the queen run away. That is just crazy. So I move my knight to f4, gaining tempo, and he attacks he pins the bishop, the knight to the square. So I move my bishop up, attacking this pawn right here, and he captures. I don't know why he captured with the rook. That was stupid. Because I just grab it, and even though he gets a check, I'm now up 2 material. So I move back. He captures that pawn with the bishop. I move back. Bishop to d5, now adding another protector. So I grab the bishop. He just hung his bishop for some reason. And he thinks he's going to get a double attack on my pieces. Well, it's not going to happen. I'll show you why. Because with the check, he has to move back, and I do a check again. This is why this position is so deadly. This is what I was hoping would happen. This isn't what actually happened. But me moving my bishop right here, hanging a piece, I was expecting him to go capture, capture, and then his only move to not be checkmated would be that, or move his queen, and I just capture, and then he'd capture, and then I would do captures, and then he would be pretty much 2 pieces of toast, right? But that's not that's as far as I thought ahead, by the way. But that's not what he did. That's not what he did. He where is it? Right here. All right, right here. I moved my bishop up, and this is what happened. He moves his pawn up, capture, right? Grabs the knight, double attack, that's the thing. Gotta watch these things, double attack. Get a check on the king, but also the knight is now hanging. He's not protecting the knight anymore. So, check the king, he has to address the king. Even though he gains a pawn, I gain a knight, which is 2 material for me. He goes for the check. Oh my god, there was like 10 seconds on the clock left. He would have won right here if it hadn't have been for this queen still being on this diagonal. So I capture with the queen, and he ran out of time. He would have been 2 pieces of toast anyways, because all I would have to do is just ladder mate him with a rook and a queen, or a rook and a rook, or a queen and a queen. You can do what's called a ladder mate, and I'll demonstrate that in some kind of checkmate video. There's a few checkmates that that you can do, but only if you have certain pieces. And you know, that's for another video though. That's for another video. This is a video analysis on the Queen's Gambit denied. Anyway, it has been fantastic. It is OG Luqqy with Chess with OG Luqqy, and I'm signing off. Checkmate, baby. Ah, yes, and before I do my shameless self-promotion, how about we just take a minute to talk? Anytime you hear me calling my opponents pussies, saying they do bitch moves, anything like that, please understand, I'm a shit-talking critic, and I play chess every day. I like to talk shit. It's psychological warfare, number one. Number two, I was just raised in a house full of sailors, so don't take offense to it if you hear me insulting my opponents or insulting you when I play chess with you. I'm really not trying to be a dick. I just talk a lot of shit when I play, and I'm very competitive about it, so anyway. With that, why don't you make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because we got new videos coming out every day. And this is OG Luqqy signing off.